Welcome to Cincinnati, where Paul Wilson will get the ball tonight. He's been the best that the Reds have had in 2004. When they need a big win, he's come up with it. What do you call him? Yep, the ace of this staff for Don Gullett. He's won 9, could have won 13, except for 4 blown saves after he left the ball game. He's been the stopper for the Reds in 2004. Coming up, he faces the Cardinals next on Fox Sports Net, Ohio. Live from Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, Fox Sports Net Ohio presents Cincinnati Reds baseball. Tonight it's the Reds against the Redbirds, game 2 of a 4-game set. Hi, hello, and welcome to Cincinnati, everybody. Along with the crafty left-hander Chris Welch, I'm George Grant. Reds against the Redbirds. So far, it's been all Redbirds. They've won 6 of 7. And Chris, the key is at the top of this order. Renteria, Womack have been something else.
You know, if you let those guys get on base and their table setters ultra, then those big guys behind them like Jim Edmonds and Roland and Albert Pujols are just simply going to knock them in with a whole bunch of RBIs down the road. You just can't let those first 2 guys get on base. But somehow Edgar Renteria finds his way.
You take a look at the numbers. Numbers tell part of the story, but also just the way they play the game tell part of the story. When Womack doesn't get on, Renteria does. When they need a big hit, Edgar's the guy that usually will come up with it. Time and time again, they get things rolling. Take a look at how they've done against the Reds this season. For Womack and Renteria, they've been double trouble.
Well, the on-base percentage is the big thing there. 361 for Womack. Of course, he can steal a base. Same for Edgar Renteria, almost a 340 on-base percentage. 50 runs plus or close to it for both of those guys. I'll tell you what, you got to get them off the base paths if you expect to beat this Cardinal team.
You know, you begin to wonder after a while when the Cardinals keep playing the way they're playing, how much pressure is on this ball club, the Reds ball club, to get things rolling, to get things going in the right division. Sean Casey and the rest of the Reds know it's a tough road.
There's no doubt. I mean, anytime you're playing St. Louis, there's always great importance. And, you know, right now we're in the second half, coming down the stretch, you know, middle of July. All the games are important now, and especially against St. Louis. So hopefully we can get a few of these games next 3 days.
Well, every game is important, you know, but especially against these guys, they're in first place. You know, every game we can win against them is very important, so we can climb the ladder a little bit. So hopefully the next 3 games, you know, we'll be able to win some of them.
That's the Reds' goal. They lose game number 1. Hopefully will reignite themselves here for game number 2 of the series. Our G pitching matchup puts the guy that you want on the mound, Paul Wilson.
Absolutely about that. He signed a 2-year contract. Paul Wilson did $500,000 last year, 3.5 this year. The Reds are getting their money's worth, that is for certain. 9-2 overall with a 366 earned run average. At home, he's been outstanding. How about a 5-1 record here at Great American Ballpark? He faced a very tough pitcher, a guy that pitched 6 innings of 2-run baseball against the Reds last time. Career, he's 8-3 against the Reds. Woody Williams, a good matchup of a couple of right-handers.
A couple of seasoned veterans go at each other. It's Williams against Wilson. Coming up, Sean Casey and company, hopeful of pulling out number 2 of this series against the Redbirds on Fox Sports Net Ohio.
Clubhouse this evening. And how important is it for your team to stay healthy right from the get-go all the way through the end of the season? Well, this is what I've done. I've charted all the starting players on every Central Division team in the National League, plus the first 4 pitchers in their starting rotation. Those, in my estimation, are the key players. And how many games missed by these key players are there? Let's see how they stack up here in the Central Division. My theory is that those teams that have the fewest injuries are going to be atop the leaderboard. And here's Chicago, 215 days missed by their key players, starting lineup and starting pitchers, on down the line until you get right down here to the St. Louis Cardinals. They have only missed 47 total days, and you can see the whopping difference between this and this at the very top. And by the way, these numbers in this column, those are what place those teams are in right now. So you can see the St. Louis Cardinals, because they've had the fewest injuries, are in first place. They're a team that get to play their all-stars every day, and it's a big difference when you get to play Scott Rowland and Jim Edmonds and company instead of some substitute guy you brought up from AAA. So my theory, yes, it is right. If you stay healthy, you give your team the best chance to win, and that's why Tony La Russa right now is on top of the leaderboard. That's our look at National League Central health. Now, stay with us. George is next. He's got lineup in action when we return with Reds baseball on Fox Sports Net.
Let's check your Chevrolet starting lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals. Tony Womack will lead it off. Edgar Renteria, his career against the Reds, 313, 9 homers, 57 knocked in. He's been big-time poison against Cincinnati. Albert Pujols, he homered last night. Oh, by the way, so did Scott Rowland. The Cardinals come in third in the league with 110 home runs. John Mabry will be in left. Reggie Sanders, the former Red, back in right. Molina will get the start behind the plate. And Woody Williams, pretty good hitter in his own right, will hit in the number 9 position. That is your Chevrolet starting lineup for the Redbirds. And here's the ace of the Red staff, Paul Wilson.
Well, he needs to be an ace tonight, because if the Reds are going to do anything against the St. Louis Cardinals in this series, they've got to win the next 3 ball games in order to pick up just 1 ball game. 9-2 overall on the year. He's been a victim of several blown saves by the bullpen. 3.66 earned run average. But if you look at his numbers against teams at Great American Ballpark, you find out that he's 5-1 and his earned run average is 2. So Paul Wilson has been everything plus here in Cincinnati when he's at home. Our Pontiac scatter report will tell you that he uses both sides of the plate. He's not overpowering. He changed speeds on all of his pitches, and he is not afraid to pitch inside. Even though he only throws 88 to 91 miles an hour, he will come right after your knuckles, whether you're right-handed or left-handed.
2 big-time competitors, Woody Williams and Paul Wilson, ready to go at each other. The Reds start the night 8.5 games back of St. Louis in the Central, 2.5 games back of San Francisco in the wild card. Womack takes a peek down at Castro. You see exactly where he's playing at third. Watch the eyes when Tony Womack steps into the batter's box. He'll scan the infield from right to left, check and see where the infielders are. He'll push a bunt to the left side, drag a bunt to the right side, or he'll pull you in at third and then slap it by you. Great handler of the bat. 1 ball, 1 strike. Larkin at short for the Reds. There's a bunt, but it'll go foul. Womack so dangerous, Chris, especially normally he's dangerous, but on this field with the high grass, this is his kind of field.
Well, you know, he's a guy that is not afraid to spray the ball around, but if you don't pay attention to him, and even he'll do this every once in a while with 2 strikes, although Juan Castro is going to play him back, not likely now, but he lays that bunt down, and he doesn't have to have a perfect bunt for it to be a base hit.
Big swing and a fly ball. Pena has trouble locating it, now drifts back. Willie Mo Pena was dead in his tracks, finally located it and hauls it in. So Pena gets the first out here on the 1-2 delivery. Here's your 4 defensive alignment for Cincinnati. Manos de Oro, Juan Castro, Golden Hands is at third, 12th start at third, 3 errors and 49 chances. Larkin at short, Jimenez at second. Casey is your first baseman. Don Frio Pena in the outfield. You know about Ken Griffey Jr. still on the DL with his pulled hamstring, and LaRue's behind the plate. That's your 4 defensive alignment. 1 away, and here's Edgar Renteria, fresh off his all-star appearance. He got a base hit and got the adulation that you would expect him to get. What a very solid ball player. From Florida to St. Louis, he's been just a picture of perfection. The way he handles his presence in the lineup offensively and defensively. He'll be one of the top shortstops at the end of any year. He's a Gold Glove winner at short, and you know his story against the Reds. He's been murder against Cincinnati. Slaps this one foul behind the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. So Renteria 1-2 with Womack at the top of the order, and that's been one of the keys to this Cardinal offense. So facing Paul Wilson. Wilson 9-2. The ERA 3.66. The 9 wins, a career high for this guy who came up as the gem of the Mets farm system in the mid-90s, but shoulder and elbow difficulties sidelined him, and he's reinvented himself as a pitcher. There's no one, Chris, who has more respect among other pitchers in the league than Paul Wilson for where he's come from.
Oh, you no doubt about it, George. You know, it's not easy, but it's easier to make the major leagues and be a good pitcher if you've got a 95 or 96 mile an hour fastball. But when you have to remake your entire approach to pitching, and you take so many years to do it, and you come back from so many and numerous arm injuries, that earns respect, because guys who have been injured, they know how tough it is to rehab and to keep working at it. And when no one else believes in you except yourself, you keep coming back, and that's really the story of Paul Wilson.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 away. That's hit hard. Larkin won't get to it. It's a base hit for Renteria.
What's new?
So Edgar keeps doing what he's been doing against the Reds for his whole career. He had 4 hits last night. That matched his season high set back in April against Arizona. So he starts another productive night. Here's Albert Pujols. Can he hit? You bet he can. There's a 3-0 that he turned on against Sanchez last night, his 23rd homer. 2-run shot, giving him 62 runs batted in on the season. An all-star, and now implanted firmly at first base. He's the everyday first baseman, not bouncing around the defensive side of the ball.
Well, that was a 3-0 pitch right there, but you know, he is such a smart hitter that he'll shrink and shrink and shrink the strike zone depending on the count. And if he gets a ball that he can ride out of here, believe me, it doesn't matter what count it'll be. Have to keep the ball down to Albert Pujols, and if he's going to do damage to you, you have to make him hit the ball the other way. If you give him a pitch up and middle in, you might as well ask the umpire for a new one.
All 3 of his home runs against the Reds this year provided game-winning runs. That was the game winner last night. So not only does he hit home runs, but he also hits ones that mean something. And you know, you talk about a year's average, and we showed you the statistics of Renteria and Womack against the Reds this year. That's impressive. But when you look at Pujols in his career against Cincinnati, he's .382 in his career. That's 220 at bats, and he has 17 homers. Ironically, Pujols, Austin Kearns, Adam Dunn broke in A ball together playing against each other, and they've maintained a great deal of respect for each other. The 2 bright young Reds prospects, and Albert for the St. Louis Cardinals. Can't forget about Renteria. He has stolen 10 this year, been caught 4 times. We talked about it last night. One of the jobs at the top of this order is to get on and get pitchers to worry about him. Last night, Sanchez tossed over 4 times with Renteria leading off first, and then finally the 3-0 fastball down the middle is the one that was clubbed by Pujols for a home run. So yeah, you want to worry about the base runners, but it's even more important, a la Greg Maddux, get the guy out at the plate. 2 balls, 1 strike. Ahead in the count. Renteria not going. That's a liner back through the middle past Wilson. That's a base hit. Renteria will hold. So either with a homer or a base hit, Pujols keeps it rolling. Back-to-back base hits, 2 on, 1 out, and here comes Scott Rowland. Our storylines for tonight: key hits at key times. Reds were 0 for 10 and 2 for 17 with runners in scoring position last night. Had the same number of hits as the Cardinals, but Redbirds did more with their hits than the Reds did, thanks to that 2 for 17. And be the stopper. Can Wilson be the stopper again for the Reds? He's 6-1 in starts following Cincinnati losses, and the Reds are hoping he can do that tonight. Here's Rowland, 3 for 6 and a homer against Wilson in his career. Big swing and a strike. He had a 2-run home run that ended a 5-game home run drought for him, his longest of 04. Started a new hitting streak. He ended an 11-game hitting streak, going hitless against the Cubs on Sunday. Also went to the All-Star game, and while he won't talk about it, never has, any injuries that he's had, a gimpy knee certainly has bothered him. You can tell it visually as you watch him try to run and try to move, but he's still in the lineup. Fouled down past the third base coach, Jose Aquindo. Here's a look at last night's bullet, Chris.
I'll tell you what, he's another guy that you get the ball out over the plate and he hits line drives everywhere. He's having a banner year, even though he's kind of banged up and he's kind of limping on one knee. We mentioned earlier in the game, George, how it was so obvious that his knee hurt, but he came up there and hit a home run anyway.
1-2. That ball that you just saw, and there's a swing and a miss. Adam Dunn, after the game last night, said, you know, I thought I might have a chance to catch that ball off the wall, but it just kept rising like it was in the jet stream. Here's a look at the strikeout for Wilson.
A very interesting 2 pitches right on the inside part of the plate there to Scott Rowland. Fastballs at 91 miles an hour. Did not look good on either of those pitches swinging at him. That's a pitch that you have to have some good foundation with your feet in order to turn on. And if they're trying to expose Rowland and maybe his bad knee, that's maybe the spot they're going to go to.
Well, last night, Rowland ended a 5-game run batted in drought. Last night, Edmonds ended a 5 straight home run game surge for him. He was in rarefied territory, homering in 5 straight games, 2 against the Reds last week, then 3 straight against the Cubs. The Reds kept him in the ballpark last night. 281 overall, 21 homers, 56 knocked in. And he's another guy who's been lethal against the Reds throughout his career. Not just with the bat either, Chris. Every time you turn around, he's climbing walls, dive into left center, dive into right center, and robbing Reds of hits.
Well, that's what these guys on this ball club are. They're all-round players, not one-dimensional. Not just offense and defense, but they also carry out the Tony La Russa game plan to perfection.
That's Bruce Dreckman behind home plate, barking out the balls and strikes. Dreckman behind the plate. Larry Poncino at first. Greg Gibson at second, and the crew chief Jerry Davis is down at third. Tony La Russa heading towards 2,000 victories. He'll get it this year. Big time company for the 2,000 win club. It would be number 8 all time. La Russa, we started the year back in spring training, Chris. Everybody said it's Houston, it's Chicago in the Central, and he always knew that somehow Tony La Russa and his staff would keep this team close. Not only are they close, they're in first place, and after the Cub loss today, they have a 7.5 game lead in the Central. Here's the 2-2. Dribble to the right side with 2 outs. Casey will scoop it, tap the bag, and that'll do it. So Wilson pitches tough with 2 on. Cardinals strand a pair. Friel, Larkin, and Casey due up when we return. Starting lineup for the Reds. How about Willie Moe? For Pena, he's been on a red-hot streak. Last 2 games, he's 7 for 9. 4 hits and 2 homers on Sunday at Milwaukee, and 3 more hits yesterday. Big-time numbers for Willie Moe. Friel leads off, Larkin then Casey. Dunn will hit in the cleanup spot. Jimenez then Pena. LaRue the catcher. Castro at third. He hits 8th. Wilson the pitcher bats in the number 9 position. You know about Paul Wilson. Ditto for Woody Williams. What a veteran.
No doubt about it. He comes right after you, and he executes the game plan exactly the way that Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa wanted. Coming off an outing his last time against the Reds, won that ball game, and the Cardinals won that ball game in 6 1/3 innings against the Reds. And here's what the Pontiac scatter report says. He sinks all of his pitches. He got a hard curve and a slow curve, but he is solid with the bat. So Paul Wilson, don't go to sleep when Woody Williams steps in.
Here's Ryan Friel talking about stepping in. Boy, is he. Even taking the games off after the knee injury before the break. He has a 10-game hitting streak. He's hit over 400 during that period. So Friel back as we talk about the importance of Womack and Renteria at the top of the lineup for St. Louis. This guy's been very critical for the Reds. When he's not in the lineup, the Reds' top of the order looks different. There's a bullet down the left field corner, curving. It'll go foul. Not often that the little guy turns on one, but he sure did there. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, he's like every other hitter, and he gets a ball in the inner part of the plate, and if you're looking fastball, you're just going to try to juice that baby. And he just throws the bat hat out there and just gets it a little bit out ahead, and that ball hooks foul for him. He's kind of like Tony Womack and Edgar Renteria rolled into one. The Reds really need him to reach base in order to kind of generate some energy in this lineup.
He really reminds you of Bo Hart last year.
Oh,
Remember,
yeah.
he came out of nowhere to take over at second, and Hart was the darling of the Cardinal fans, and Ryan Friel's become the darling of the Reds fans this year.
Hope it lasts longer than Bo Hart.
Yeah.
Where is old Bo?
Bo fought for the second base job, but because Womack was healthy in spring training, he had options. They sent him out, and Womack, recovering from his elbow surgery, has been big time. It's pretty good 7 multi-hit games in 10-game streak, isn't it? And that's what Friel's working on. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Ryan. To Hopper down to second. Womack has it. Friel's retired, and there's 1 away. Here's your 4 defensive alignment for the Redbirds. The Cardinals come in 5th in the league in defense. They've made 52 errors on the year. The Reds have made 53 on the season. Revolving door in left. John Mabry, the left-hand swinger, gets the start tonight. Mabry, the former Red, back in St. Louis. The former Cardinal back in St. Louis. Edmonds and Sanders in the outfield. Sanders, the former Red. Roland, Renteria, Womack, Pujols across the infield. Yadi Molina behind the plate, the third of the Molina catching brothers in the major leagues. And here's Barry Larkin. Larkin, 293, 4 homers and 33 knocked in. 12-time All-Star. Trails only Johnny Bench 14 and Pete Rose 13 in trips to the All-Star game. Pretty good numbers against Woody. 8 for 23. That translates to 348, and he has hit a homer against him. Larkin's had decent numbers against Williams. Sean Casey as well. Jimenez 4 for 9, but other than that, not many folks have had success against Woody. That's a blooper over the leap of Womack, and is Womack okay? It looked like he jammed his right ankle when he came down. It's a base hit for Larkin.
You know, oftentimes on kind of a slow line drive like that, you see the fielder jump too soon and the ball goes over his head easily. But Womack that time timed his jump perfectly. I mean, he got up there as absolutely high as he possibly could and made a great effort at it. How did he come down? Yeah, it looks like he jammed himself a little bit, but he's not walking with a limp or rubbing it in any way. So
big leap by Womack. Reds have a runner on with one out. Here's Casey. Sean hit the disabled list with muscle. Came off it yesterday. Had an 0 for night, but still at 346. He's been in the top 3 or 4 of hitting in the National League all season long. Larkin lead, and they overshift on Casey. The Cardinals, there's a base hit to right. The Cardinals are the only team in the National League that overshifts on Sean Casey. Against Griffey and against Dunn, they do it a lot. But Casey, who goes a lot to left, they still overshift on him, and he beats it with a base hit.
You know, interesting you say that, George Graham, because they're also one of the only teams in the National League that do not use advanced scouts. Tony La Russa told me the last time through St. Louis that they essentially called their advanced scouts back in, and they do all their scouting using the satellite dish and taping ball games and have their coaches look at the matchups coming up rather than relying on somebody else's information.
Here's Dunn with 2 on and 1 out. That's a foul ball. And really what a defense tells you more than anything, it tells you how they're going to pitch you. And the Cardinals are more exacting than anybody. The 2 most exacting defensive setups in the National League, Bobby Cox, Leo Mazzoni, and Pat Corrales, who runs the defense for Atlanta. And here, Dave Duncan, Tony La Russa, the pitching coach. There's Dunk. And it tells you how they are going to pitch these left-handers. With Casey, they always try to go down and in, trying to force him to bang a ball on the ground to the right side. Casey beat it, getting his hands inside the ball, and he plunked it into right. No balls, 2 strikes, with Larkin good speed off second, Casey off first. Did he go around? Says Jerry Davis down at third. A ball, 2 strikes. Big number 44, third in the majors, 25 homers. Jim Thome has 28. Manny Ramirez now at 26. Nibbles away at the outside corner and misses. We're even at 2-2.
Boy, if you appreciate how a catcher sets up and how he gives the umpire a really good look at every pitch, you'll like this young kid. He's still learning the trade, obviously. Yadi Molina, just a young kid. But, boy, he gets down there as low as possible. And he is very still once he gets set to receive the ball and gives Bruce Dreckman every look he can at that pitch.
One of the brightest young catching prospects in baseball, and it just goes to show you, when Joe Girardi 2 years ago had difficulty in spring training, they called him up just really to fill in while Girardi was recovering, as Joe was coming back after back troubles, and they were so impressed with his aptitude and the way he caught that they filed that away. And when they needed somebody this year, he was the first guy they called instead of going outside the organization. And even when they talked about sending him back down, when Matheny came back from the DL, they kept him. And Tony La Russa is trying to work him in every week.
Well, it's that said, I mean, he looks like a very good receiver, but Woody Williams is calling his own game, because it does not look like Molina and Williams are on the same page. And nearly every time Williams is shaking off a couple of signs in order to get to the pitch that he wants. And doing it again.
3-2, 1 out. Runners not going. That is low, ball 4. So Dunn will march down to first. The Reds have the bases loaded. And how often have we seen this? Cincinnati with great opportunities early. More often than not, they've gotten out of it with a run and 2, maybe no more than that. And Dave Miley last night once again was bemoaning the fact when you got opportunities, you got to find a way to deliver. Last night they eked out a run in the first, but in an inning where they had 2 hits and a walk, they wish they had had more.
Good example right there of a A polished major league experienced pitcher, not giving into a hitter on a 3-2 count. Everybody in the ballpark's thinking Williams is going to throw Adam Dunn a fastball, including Adam Dunn. What does he throw him on a 3-2 count? Misses with a breaking ball down. He'll take his chances with the next guy, rather than throw a hitter's pitch in a situation which could mean the difference in a ball game. You make a mistake to Adam Dunn with a couple of guys on base and you're down 3 runs.
Jimenez trying to make him pay with the bases loaded and 1 out. D'Angelo 4 for 9 and a homer against Williams in his career. The red hot Willie Mo Pena on deck. Fouled off for a strike, 1-1. 5-game hitting streak for D'Angelo. The last month he's hit over 300. That's got the average up to 263 coming into town tonight. There's the big right fielder who's been red hot of late. Larkin off third, Casey off second, Dunn off first. That misses down and away. 2-1. Nobody has a more exacting pitching regimen than Dave Duncan, the pitching coach of the Cardinals. Having said that, this guy knows what he throws best, and he'll go off a scouting report to do what he wants to do. Williams delivers. That's in there for a strike. 2-2. And
I think every ball club agrees with that. If you've got a veteran pitcher out there, even though the scouting report says one thing, if you've got a guy that says, you know what, I don't pitch like Matt Morris does, I don't pitch like Chris Carpenter, I pitch my own game and I have a certain feel, and I think that you can never take that away from a pitcher, a guy that knows his own stuff, because ultimately he's going to be responsible.
2-2. Setting up away was Molina. That darts down and in. So we'll go full once again. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, he threw a 3-2 curveball to Adam Dunn and walked him. Now he's 3-2 right here. Will he go with a breaking ball again or just try to come with some hard stuff against D'Angelo Jimenez?
Molina rolls through his signs. D'Angelo digs in. Bases loaded. That's a grounder. It'll be caught by Pujols. They'll get 1, and that's all. A run will score. Larkin scampers home. The Reds do get a run out of it, so there's 2 away. There'll be runners at first and third on the 3-6 fielder's choice.
Well, you put the ball in play and you make sure it's not a ground ball double play right there, and you get a run in. Very important for the Reds to come out of this with something. Nice play by Pujols right there, going in that direction, and forces Dunn at second.
They may have had a shot at the runner at first had the throw been higher. It was down by the shoe tops. Renteria couldn't do much with it. So now it's first and third. Here's Willie Mo. There's a strike to Pena. Talk about red hot. He sure is. Number 26 has been hotter than hot. 7 for 9. Last night 3 for 4 after 4 hits in the final game before the All-Star break. Getting a chance to play with Austin Kearns and Ken Griffey Jr. on the sidelines on the DL. And that's where he's been seeing a lot of pitches of late. Breaking balls away. And very seldom do you see him get a fastball in the strike zone. Pretty good numbers for Willie Mo, huh? Hit pretty good. Did he get enough? Going back. It's going to be gone. Boy, is he hot or what? Willie Mo puts the pain in the Cardinals in the first. A 3-run shot. It's 4-0 Cincinnati. When he hits them, they stay hit, Chris.
I'll tell you what, he is kind of scary up there. I mean, because I don't think he's been around yet enough for people to know exactly how to get him out. You certainly can't get him out the old-fashioned way you used to get Willie Mo out of last year.
LaRue lines out, but the Reds do some business. Pena's 11th homer makes it 4-0. Go home run replay. Look at number 11 for Willie Mo.
Oh, you see where Woody Williams missed his spot, and Willie Mopena, who has done some damage last night with base hits to right field. He gets that little spinner of a breaking ball up there, and he just lines a rocket shot into the left center field bleachers.
The education of the young outfielder continues, and he's paying dividends of late, isn't he? Here's John Mabry, Reggie Sanders, and Molina to follow. 6, 7, and 8 for St. Louis. Mabry in at 285 homers, 20 knocked in. If you look at the Cardinals and say, what do they need? Everyone might point to the fact a little more pitching depth, guarding against possible arm troubles in the second half, and an everyday left fielder. But Tony La Russa is very reluctant to change the chemistry of this ball club. Popped up in the infield. Jimenez under it. He's got it at 1 away. Hey, don't forget, Anna Kournikova's coming your way, Beyond the Glory, on Sunday at 8. Her looks made her a superstar off the court, made her one of the world's best known tennis players, but she continues to struggle in tournaments, and injuries have led to disappointment on the court. Anna Kournikova, Beyond the Glory, Sunday at 8 on Fox Sports Net. Here's Reggie Sanders at 255, 14 homers, 43 knocked in. Once a Red, came through the Reds farm system, and now with his 7th team. Hits it to Larkin. So far so good for Wilson. 2 quick outs here in the second.
No doubt about that, George. You know, Woody Williams went out and threw 31 pitches in the first inning here. You'd like to get him right back out there even before he gets a chance to catch his breath. And after 2 quick outs, Wilson's on that pace.
Here comes his battery mate Molina. You expect him to take at least a strike or 2. Give his pitcher a chance to take a blow. Hey, the good folks from Domino's have come up with another great special for Reds fans. Call Domino's now. Ask for the new 5-5-5 deal. For a limited time, you can enjoy 3 medium topping pizzas for as little as $5 each from Domino's. Molina 254, no homers, 4 knocked in. There's Williams on deck. Pretty good hitter. Former infielder in college and high school. Back to the Cardinals in left field. What La Russa likes about this rotating situation is in left he can play Mabry as he is today. Yesterday Taguchi played. Ray Langford's been there. Even Marlon Anderson's been there. And Roger Cedeno, who's serving his suspension today, not available to play. All of them have played in the outfield. So you're doing 2 things. You got a left-right combo, and even more importantly, you're getting a chance to keep your bench players fresh, to give them at bats so that they're ready when you need them off the bench. 0-2. Not only does that pay off now, it pays off come crunch time. Whitey Herzog, the former Cardinal manager, always said he'd like to give his bench players, Jose Aquindo is one of them, who's down in the third base coach's box tonight, 10 or 12 at bats a week. That's the only way you get it, is if you at least start 1 or 2 games. Easy inning for Wilson. He likes it. 2 ground balls and a pop-up. Paul due up second when we return. Reds lead at 4-0. Welcome back to Great American Ballpark. Here's Juan Castro stepping in. Paul Wilson will follow. Castro in at 268, a homer and 10 knocked in, gets the start at third tonight. So the Reds, big first inning, just as we talk about it, Chris. Dave Miley bemoaning last night again the opportunities that just were not fulfilled for the Reds offensively. 2 for 17 runners in scoring position, 0 for 10 to start the game, and for about the 15th time this year he watched his club score only a run or 2 in an inning when they could have, should have had more.
Well, there are a couple of things that you simply can't manage around. One of them is bad pitching. The other is not being able to come up with a key hit, especially when it's a consistent failure of getting runners in when they're in scoring position. So last night it was obvious, and that's so obvious we put it in our storyline for tonight. 2 for 17 with the runners in scoring position. Already the Reds are much better than that.
Castro pops it foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes. As a starter, Castro right around the 300 mark, 296 in his previous 31 starts at 4 different positions. And the dirt, and the count's even at 2-2. This game 2 of the 4-game set. Tomorrow, Corey Lytle against Jason Marquis. Lytle goes for 500. He's 6-7. Marquis goes for its 10th win. He's 9-4. And Jose Acevedo against Jeff Supan on Sunday. Castro retired. That's the first strikeout for Woody Williams. 1 away, and here's Paul Wilson. Hey, Tony Perez has signed 500 autograph baseball for fans tomorrow during Banquet Kroger Tony Perez Autograph Baseball Day. First 10,000 fans at the park receive a Tony Perez scratch-off baseball card. 500 lucky scratch-off winners receive a Tony Perez autograph baseball. There's a liner to left center. It will be all the way to the warning track. Wilson rounds first, goes to second, and Paul Wilson has his 6th hit of the season, his 2nd double of the season, and he'll take a deep breath sitting in scoring position with 1 away.
I'll tell you, his hitting has come a long way, and he gets the fastball out over the plate. Wilson does that time, and we've remarked the last couple of starts for Paul Wilson how he's given the Reds some pretty good plate appearances. 2nd double of the year, and he splits the gap between left and center with this one. He was thinking about 3 too as he rounded second base. Took a look over at Mark Berry, who had the air brakes on him.
3 what? 3 bases? I don't think he knows where that is, does he? He got the second, chugged in. He's sitting in scoring position, and here's the top of the order. Ryan Friel, who bounced to second first time up. No balls, 1 strike. Fouled at the plate, and it's 0-2. That's 4 straight great at bats for Wilson. He had 3 good at bats in his last start. Put the bat on the ball, and Mabry couldn't catch up with it. Wilson winds up at second. Missing 1 and 2. This afternoon, Milwaukee beat the Cubs 3-2. So the Cardinals lead 7.5 over the Cubs to start play tonight. Uh-oh, he got it in. Woo! The ball did beat him. He just got his hand in there.
Couldn't get much closer than that one. They may shorten the leash on Paul Wilson a little bit after this one. That was a perfectly timed pickoff play by Woody Williams and Tony Womack.
That's about a step shorter right now. The good news is you get a base hit. The last thing in the world you want to do is get embarrassed by getting picked off, huh? That's the threat of a pitcher's life.
Well, after a close pickoff like that, he's looking around like he's speeding in a radar trap.
Where are they coming from? Where's the center fielder? Is he sneaking in behind me? 1 ball, 2 strikes. Down and in, count evens, 2-2. Big crowd. Looks like, if not a sellout, very close to it tonight. They expect the same for tomorrow's game 2. That's hit hard down to third. Nice play by Rolen on the tricky last hop. Well, that's why he's a Gold Glover. Most third basemen, that ball either bounces off their glove or goes over their shoulder, but Rolen reacts to this last hop.
Well, he is as solid gets down there at third base. One of the reasons why people are saying that he is the MVP of this ball team. Even though he plays on a team with Jim Edmonds and Albert Pujols, who is perennially an all-star, but boy, he gives you something solid at third base that very few other teams around the league can boast about.
Shows up, plays baseball every day. You never know he's there. Good teammate, good friend. Players on this club. Cares about his community. Does a lot of benefit work in the offseason.
You never know he's there until you hit a scorcher down to third base.
On the field, you sure know where he is, huh? 0-1. Larkin hits it hard, knocked down by Renteria. He'll make no play, and Wilson will hold at third. Barry Larkin 2 for 2.
Well, Edgar Renteria made a play similar to this last night against Ryan Friel. Friel hit a hot shot to shortstop. Renteria went to his right. This time against Larkin, he goes to his left and only is able to knock the ball down. And once it bounds down and gets away from him, he's got no chance for Larkin but the fake there, and he's always looking for an extra chance somewhere. Maybe an opportunity to get an out. Paul Wilson not falling for it as he stays close to the bag at third.
So first and third, and here comes Casey. In the first, Larkin single, Casey single, Dunn walked to load the bases. An infield out brought one home, and then Pena's homer made it 4-0. Up and into Sean. See his overall numbers, 348 for the season, and with runners in scoring position, he's in at 354. He and Griffey have been the best the Reds have with runners in scoring position this year. Bloop to the left side. Here comes Roland giving chase, and he holds on. What an effort by Roland. He plucked it from the railing. Ends the Reds' threat. And the Cardinals go to the bat rack. 4-0 Reds lead it as we head to the third.
Telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
What a beautiful night for baseball alongside the Ohio River. Welcome to Great American Ballpark. Good to have you with us. Very close to capacity. They may have reached a sellout tonight. Very exciting time in Cincinnati. The Society for American Baseball Research holding its annual convention in Cincinnati. A lot of great baseball folks rumbling around town, and they got over 600 of them at the ballpark tonight. And
so
they are true baseball fans.
So if somebody stops you on the street, if you're walking down Vine Street, George, and somebody stops you and pops a baseball trivia question on you, chances are he's from Sabre.
What do you mean if? It's when. Boy, they love the game. Here's a liner that is foul by Woody Williams. No balls, 2 strikes to Williams. Already tonight, Wilson has a double. Woody Williams very capable of doing the same thing with his bat. Williams, for his career, has 3 home runs. One of them came last year and is a career .217 hitter. Well, they have presenters all the way from 18 years of age to 80 years of age at the Sabre Convention. Really an exciting time. Wilson delivers. Williams fouls it off. 1-2.
I mean, baseball for most of the Sabre members goes beyond being a hobby.
Oh, yeah. And it's about the history of the game, the tradition of the game, uncovering heretofore unknown tidbits.
You know, you read through the Sabre magazine when it comes, there's always a column in there called Research Needs, where people are looking for help researching certain things, and it's just amazing to watch what people are actually researching.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Woody. Fouled off. You know, they had now, you can go online and hook yourself up with people that have like interest. Sabre's been doing that for 40 years. People that would do it over the telephone, whether it's home runs, pitching, defense, you name it, ballparks. They have a way of connecting people who are interested in those areas. Woody saying something like, well, if you give him that strike, you better give it to me too.
That's probably exactly what he said, because I can guarantee you he thought Bruce Dreckman squeezed him a couple of times, maybe in the at-bat to Adam Dunn. I think he's got something to bark about. You see the movement at the very end there after Jason LaRue caught it and then tried to bring it in about 4 inches to frame it.
So Woody said his piece and escaped unscathed. Dreckman gives him a little latitude. There's a bouncer by Womack to second. Bobbled, and they got him. The closest of margins down at first, and there's 2 away. Hey, don't forget, the Meyer Kentucky Speedway Racing Report will come your way Sunday morning at 10:30 right here on Fox Sports Net. Feel the power, the thunder, the RPMs, racing fans. It's the Meyer Kentucky Speedway Racing Report every Sunday morning at 10:30 right here. Two away, and here's Renteria. Edgar, 4 hits last night. Ripped the single to center with 1 out in the first. Pujols followed with a single. They were left stranded in the first inning. Cardinals had 2 potential brilliant shortstops in their system. Adam Kennedy and Jack Wilson. Kennedy traded to Anaheim, of course, and Wilson traded to Pittsburgh. That's because this guy came to town in a trade from the Florida Marlins. Now he is potentially a free agent at the end of the season. Hard to imagine the Cardinals without Edgar Renteria at short next year.
I think Tony La Russa, if he has something to say about that. I mean, they've said for years in St. Louis, those who were able to see Edgar Renteria play on a daily basis, that he is the most underappreciated shortstop in baseball.
Bounce to short. Larkin takes the last high hop. Over to Casey. 2 quick 1, 2, 3 innings for Paul Wilson. Reds lead at 4-0. Here comes Dunn. There's Adam Dunn swinging and missing at the first delivery. He walked on a 3-2 pitch in the first inning to prolong the Reds inning. That loaded the bases. Reds got a run on a ground out, then 3 more on the Pena homer. 97 career homers at 24 years of age for Adam Dunn. The only under 25 player with more than 100, of course, is Pujols. And Chris, when you look at what Dunn has done, you're pretty impressed. And then compare that to Albert Pujols, you say, wow, what 2 great young players that this league has right now.
You know, the interesting thing, the comparisons are numerous, obviously, especially from the power department. But the most interesting thing from my standpoint about Albert Pujols is the fact that he's been a 3-time All-Star, and each year from a different position. So he's a guy that can play everywhere and hit. I bet those people up there way down the right field line in the second deck did not expect the foul ball tonight.
Not hit that hard. Pujols signed a contract this past offseason that'll make him a Cardinal through 2010 with an option for 2011. Hard hit. Albert has it. And that's the other part of his game, highly underrated. Playing there every day, he's become a very good first baseman. 3-1s you're put out. Here's D'Angelo Jimenez with 1 out in the third. Grown extra miles away from ordinary number of the night. Well, what Rich Cope is telling us, we don't have to worry about testing this record because the Cardinals and Reds don't play 21 times. The most losses by the Reds against any opponent in a single season is 21. 1-21 against the Pirates in 1937 and 1-21 against the Cubs in 45. Cardinals have won 6 of 7 against Cincinnati, and therein lies part of the story as the Reds start the night 8.5 games back of St. Louis. D'Angelo grounded out in a 3-6 fielder's choice at second. That plated the first run for the Reds. It came on a 3-2 pitch in the first. Back to Pujols, Rich. He signed his multi-year deal and got big money for it. Adam Dunn is not signed for next. He's eligible for arbitration next year. No multi-year deal has been offered to him. It figures with the home run numbers he has, he'll make a pretty good payday.
Well, the Reds, with the exception of Sean Casey and Danny Graves, have been very reluctant to sign any of their young budding stars to long-term deals. We'll see if that philosophy changes under Dan O'Brien.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Bloop to left. That's a base hit for D'Angelo. Now a 6-game hitting streak for D'Angelo Jimenez. And now here's the summer takeoff upcoming schedule brought to you by AmeriSuites and Wellesley Inns and Suites. For summer takeoff details on how you can stay at any AmeriSuites or Wellesley Inns and Suites and receive $100 off any airline ticket anytime, visit summertakeoff.com. Brewers come to town. We will be on the air on Sunday against the Cardinals, day game, then Monday night against Milwaukee. Tomorrow's game will be on the net. Chris will be here working. Kenny Albert in town. Good to see Kenny. Good to see Carol Langley in town too.
They do a great job.
Yep, great Ohio roots for Carol. Great to get updated on her family and kids and everything. You'll be in good hands. Jesse will be here tomorrow.
That's good. That's always a comforting thing to know. If I need anything, I just go to the trunk.
He's reserved hot dogs for you already. Here's Willie Moe, big-time homer, his 11th of the year. 3-run shot in the first, made it 4-0 Cincinnati. So now he's 8 for his last 10. Is that hot? You bet it is. That's a strike.
You know, a couple of the hits that Willie Moe had last night were not exactly banged all that hard, kind of off the end of the bat. But still in all, we have seen over the last few weeks, George, him hit some line drives that were right at some fielders, either outfielders or infielders. So they say it all evens out. He hits it off the end of the bat, and you still send the outfielder to the warning track.
Well, there's a payback for Woody Williams right there. As inside as the pitch was to him. Where's this? Set up away and out is Molina. Williams gets the strikeout. Pena's retired. 2 away, and here comes Jason LaRue. That's strikeout number 2 for Woody Williams. Cardinals in the midst of a 6-game road trip. Their first visit to Cincinnati. Well, they'll head to Chicago for 2 games, and that finishes out the season series with the Cubs following the Red Series. Cards play 11 of their next 16 on the road, so if the Central's going to make up any ground, you would think it would be right now. But, and there's a big but to that, the Cardinals remain the #1 road team in all of baseball. They're 27 on the road, so they're 12 games over 500 on the road. That's big time. Add to the 10 games over 500 they are at home, and they're 22 over 500 right after the All-Star break. Those are pretty impressive.
Well, they really ran into a very good streak during this last 9-game homestand. They went 8-0 before finally losing to Kerry Wood. And prior to that, or actually part of that, first 3 games of that series were they were 11-1. League play, and that's really where they separated themselves from the rest of the division, like cleaning up on the American League teams.
Two balls, 1 strike. Williams dealing to LaRue. Jason lined to short to end the first inning.
Well, kind of as good as their offense is, just think about adding a DH to their lineup.
Yeah.
And pitching to them.
There goes Jimenez. Here's a ground ball to short. Renteria has it. LaRue's retired. So are the Reds in the 3rd. A base hit by Jimenez. Reds strand a runner. We're heading towards the 4th. The Reds lead at 4-0. When you're downtown Cincinnati, stop by the Reds team shop by Majestic. Speaking of Majestic, this guy sure is. He singled his first time up. Here's the 300 hitter Albert Pujols. Didn't get all of this. Bloop to left center. Long run for Friel. Can't get there, and it's a base hit by Pujols. Takes a big turn and retreats to first. So even when he doesn't hit it hard, he hits it right. 2 for 2 is Albert Pujols. Time for our Aflac trivia question of tonight. Who's the only player in Reds history with 200+ hits and 30+ homers in the same season? 200+ hits and 30+ homers in the same season. Aflac trivia question. Answer coming up. Here's Roland. Speaking of Reds history, it was great to see Eric Davis today, wasn't it, Chris?
He looks great.
Yep.
I mean,
sure
he looks
does.
like you could throw a uniform on him and you could go out and go 3 for 4 right now.
ED, of course, living in Los Angeles, his home area, and involved in the movie business these days.
And the record business.
Yep. Still got that little itch for baseball. I think someday, hopefully someday, he'll be back in the game. What a great player. And Red at heart, he always will be. Eric the Red. 1 ball, 1 strike to Roland, who struck out his first time up. Eric, I hope you had a chance to watch the interview that Jeff Pecoro had with him on Real Reds before the game. Always great to talk to. And you know, Chris, you talk about those guys who have an influence on their teammates. Eric Davis was one of those guys, bringing young players along, talking about the game, talking through games night after night.
Well, when he broke in with the Reds, he was really surrounded by a group of older players that excelled in that. Guys like Buddy Bell and Tony Perez and Davey Concepcion were there. Dave Parker brings them in their his own special way. And it was a same time and same year, really, that Barry Larkin came up.
That's a value that you can't place a number on. What Concepcion did for Larkin, what Larkin's done for so many young players. Popped up. There's Jimenez. He's under it. He's got it. Roland's retired. Scott's 0 for 2. And by the way, while we're saying hello to former Reds, we want to send a get well wish out to Robert Malloy from Cincinnati. He's at ICU at Jewish Hospital. Former Reds player, played for the Reds back in the 40s, 86 years young. And we understand he's coming along great, doing real well. And Robert, get well. We can't wait to see you at the ballpark soon. By the way, we could use some help. You could suit up a little bit these days. Here, Jimmy Edmonds bounced to first unassisted back in the first inning. That ended the first inning. Reds season ticket holders luncheon today. And speaking of additions to the Reds, Reds general manager Dan O'Brien on hand, along with Chris Chambliss, the Reds hitting instructor, Brandon Larson, Jose Acevedo, and Jacob Cruz. And you might expect one of the first questions asked of Dan O'Brien is, will the Reds go after what they need? And does O'Brien think the Reds are in a pennant race? He said, well, you know, we're struggling to stay in the Central Division race, but we're very much in the wild card race. Reds start the day 2.5 back in the wild card. And he said, no, we're not going to break the bank, but if we can find somebody to help us. But Chris, here is the crux of the matter. There are about 21 teams that are still in the race right now. So those that are in the same boat as the Reds on the bubble, there's a lot of people looking for help, and there's not much out there unless you want to overpay for it, and general managers are reluctant to overpay.
Well, still a lot can happen in the next couple of weeks. They're out of those 21 teams, George, and there may be at the end of July, I mean right around the end of the July, of course, is the trading deadline on the 31st, that we're in it back here on the 15th and 16th, but not in it on the 30th. So you may see some sellers all of a sudden come out of the woodwork of players who you didn't think were available. So that's why it behooves teams to scout everybody and anybody right now to find out who might be available and who you'd want and what you'd be willing to pay.
A good example, we talk about Scott Rowland coming from Philadelphia to St. Louis. That occurred near that trading deadline. It was either the 29th or 30th of July, and boom, that was the big deal. And then just like Mark McGwire before him, he decided, I want to stay in St. Louis, and signed a multi-year deal to stay with the Cardinals. In fact, talking to Bill DeWitt, the primary owner of the Cardinals, before the game, he said his phone's been ringing off the hook. Walt Jocketty's phone's been ringing off the hook because of all the rumors that now Randy Johnson has indicated the Cardinals are one of the places that he would go to, one of the 6 teams he has mentioned. That's $17 million worth. That's a line drive. It's a fair ball. Pujols round second, going to third. Oquendo's going to send him to the plate. He'll score easily as it rattles around in the corner. And Jim Edmonds' 2-base hit plates the first run for the Redbirds. Edmonds' double, his 24th of the season, and it's now 4-1 Cincinnati.
Not all that bad of a pitch for Jim Edmonds. It was down and it was away. That shows the ball just above the knees right there, but he just whips that bat through the zone and just keeps it fair. That's going to be a double either way, even though Willie has a hard time finally figuring out where it's going to go. It bounces all around down there, goes around the circuitous route in the corner.
So Edmonds sitting at second. Still only 1 out, and here comes Mabry. Pujols scampered all the way around, and Chris, here it is. He took a pitch, looked at his bat when he was in the batter's box, kept swinging, and he ended up with a base hit to left. But now he gets back to the dugout. First thing he does, check that bat. Is there a hole in it? You don't have to, know that it's cracked, but you get a funny feeling about it. That's talk about love, and that's.
Do you have one more hit in this?
Yes. Let me speak.
Are you going to treat me good next time?
A little kiss, and we're ready to go. Not ready to retire you yet.
Was that movie Major League where one of the players went to the other and he says, give me some of that good karma?
We need some Arijo snake oil to rub on it. He's checking his bats. Don't you ever think that hitters know their bats. By the way, speaking of bats and big-time hitters, as Mabry steps in, who popped to second his first time up, guess who won the home run derby at the AAA All-Star game in Pawtucket? None other than the spaceman Bill Lee. And guess who finished third? Our own Tim Naring. Naring invited back, finished third, and we can't let him live that down. He ends up getting beaten by Billy Lee.
Don't tell me he did it wearing khakis.
No, but he did it with his own bats. He had homemade bats that he brought for the home run derby, and Billy Lee.
Then there's no excuse for losing. If you have homemade bats, you've got to have them specially made, if you know what I mean.
Mabry bounces out. Edmonds goes to third, and here comes Reggie Sanders.
I would have had Joe Youngblood make my bats.
Send him down to the Dominican. They take good care of him down there. Here's Reggie, bounced to short first time up. 7 different uniforms Sanders has worn, and he's gotten better and better as his career has gone on. 14 homers, 43 knocked in for Reggie. You're never out of the woods against the Cardinals because of power like Pujols, Rowland, Edmonds, Sanders, Langford sitting on the bench. Spaceman Lee winning the home run derby. Amazing. That's a little low. Ball and a strike to Sanders.
You know, he lives on a maple farm up in Vermont now. Spaceman does.
Well, he resides on the maple farm. He lives in his own world. He's the best. 1 ball, 1 strike. True story. When we were at USC and playing, there used to be a tradition where we had this old, remember the old wig rock and rollin' used to wear, the fuzzy orange and yellow wig? We had, every time you went on the road and you went to the airport, a freshman becoming a sophomore would have to wear the wig. They gave it to Billy on the first. You had to do crazy things at the airport. They gave it to Billy the first trip, and they retired it to him because he was so good. They gave it to him every trip. He was sitting in little old ladies' laps.
So he was a spaceman even before when he was a student.
A spaceman. The spaceman. What a true baseball original. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Sanders fouls it off. Quick story. We're playing Santa Barbara against Randy Moffett, Billie Jean King's brother. He's losing 2-1. Billy's losing 2-1 in the 7th. He doubles to lead off the 7th. We leave him stranded. He comes storming into the dugout, slams his hat down, says, "I'm not going back out there. You never give me any support." Rod Dedeaux puts his arm around him, the coach of the Trojans. There's a liner. Larkin's got it, and he gets the out, saves a run. Puts his arm around Billy, says, "Billy, you'll go back out there, because if you don't, you'll never play for the Trojans, and I'll make sure you never play for anybody else ever." So Billy Lee went back out there. Back after this. Jim Edmonds' double has gotten the Cardinals back in this one for 1 ball game. That's a foul ball down the third base line. Off the bat of Castro. Paul Wilson in the batter's box in the on-deck circle looked right down that line and shook his head. Let's see. Is it hit fair or foul? Is it over the bag fair? Third base umpire Jerry Davis says, that's a foul ball. So we'll try it again. 0-1. Castro struck out first time up. That was to lead off the 2nd. Reds, 4 runs, 6 hits. Big blast, a 3-run home run from Willie Mo Pena. Boy, that sounded good, didn't it? One hop off the wall. Here comes Castro trying for second. He'll be in there. Great job by Mabry to pick it off the wall, but Castro, good break right out of the box, thinking double, and that's exactly what he gets.
Very interested why Woody Williams threw him that pitch. He looked very bad on the previous curveball, struck him out on the curveball his first time up. But on a 2-2 count, sizzles a fastball right there to Juan Castro. Over the head of John Mabry and left, and he hustles, you're right, George Grant, right out of the box, and that's the reason he made a double, because Mabry fielded that perfectly off the wall.
So Castro's in scoring position. Here's Wilson, and everybody in America is expecting a sacrifice, including the Cardinal infield. Wilson doubled his first time up. That's a strike.
Boy, they are charging hard too. Roland and Pujols, they can go out and reach and shake hands with Paul Wilson at the end of their little trot towards home.
And
if there's any time for a Butcher Boy play, which is a slug bunt, now might be the time to do it.
Pitchers have their option to do that. See if they charge again and see what Wilson does. Castro off second. Pulls the bat back and swings and misses.
You know, the problem with the slug bunt, if you get an outside pitch, is oftentimes that you've choked up so much on the bat that if you throw an outside pitch, the bat, you can't get that, can't get to it.
Roland and Williams want to make sure they're on the same page. 0-2.
Now it makes as much sense, if not more, to do the same thing, because if you foul one off while you're doing a slug bunt, it's a foul ball. If you foul it off as a bunt, it's an out.
As he did. So no sacrifice for Wilson. It'll be a strikeout credited to Williams, his third strikeout. Wilson goes to take a seat, and here comes Friel. Time for our Aflac trivia answer for the night. The only player in Reds history with 200+ hits in a season and 30+ homers in the same season. It is the manager of the Montreal Expos, Hall of Famer Frank Robinson. 200 hits, 39 homers. That was back in 1962. What a big-time offensive player, huh? MVP in the National League with the Reds, MVP in the American League with the Orioles.
Milt Pappas.
Former Oriole pitcher Pat Dobson in the house tonight, one of the advanced scouts, and former Boston Red Sox manager Grady Little is here tonight too. He's now working for the Chicago Cubs. Great to talk with him, watching with interest what's happening in Boston. Sitting during last night's game, and somebody turned to him and said, Grady, you think we should take the pitcher out here? And Grady said, what are you, stupid? Don't you read the papers? You know I don't take the pitcher out. Alluding to the Pedro Martinez non-pitching change against the Yankees. That's the way Grady is. What a tremendous baseball guy. There he is, left side of your screen, right behind the young man and young lady who just stood up right there. Grady Little. And Bob Didier in the hat, the blue hat, right next to him. There's the Dauber down in the right corner of your screen as usual on the phone, huh? Check swing. Friel bounces it to second. The runner will go to third, so there's 2 outs. Friel 0 for 3. Pat Dobson, big time pitcher, huh? And big time sure.
Advanced scout.
Yep. Look at those eyes. That's an eye on the game, isn't it?
Now this is in between pitches. Now how much more can you possibly concentrate when there's action on the field? It's almost like a transcendental state.
He doesn't need a laptop. It's between the 2 ears that grind away right there, doesn't it?
Maybe on the same wavelength there with this Bill Lee, you think?
Great baseball mind and great baseball scout. So Castro down to third with 2 away. Here's Larkin trying to get the run in. Barry 2 for 2. Base hit to right, base hit to short. Reds would love to get the run back. They just surrendered last inning. McCluskey Chevrolet, home of the quick credit guarantee. One click, one call, one number can do it all. 761-1111.com. McCluskey Chevrolet. 1-2. Woody Williams, once a shortstop in high school and college, facing a guy who's played over 2,000 games at short. Barry Larkin now 2,066. That's 12th all time on the major league list. Over 2,000 games at short, over 2,000 hits. Two. Yes, missing. We'll go full 3-2. Castro doubled. He's sitting down at third. Williams has it. They'll get the out. The Reds will strand a runner. They've stranded 4 through 4. 4 is the number they have on the board. They lead it 4-1. Yadi Molina, the catcher, to lead it off. Against Paul Wilson. Molina bounced to short first time up. Woody Williams on deck from the top of the order. Tony Womack. Line to center. Here comes Friel. It'll bounce in front of him. A base hit for Molina. The leadoff hitter on in the 5th, and here comes the pitcher Williams. He takes a long look at Jose Oquendo, who's rolling through some signs for him. Time for our Geico Direct moment. Here's the catcher, Jason LaRue, talking about what he expects from Paul Wilson.
We know what to expect, you know. I mean, he's going to keep us in the ball game, and especially he's done a great job of keeping the ball down in the zone, and that's very important as a pitcher. And you know, tonight hopefully he'll keep doing what he's done all year long, and that's obviously get his sinker ball, get down in the zone, and be able to mix his changeup and curveball, and to keep them for strikes. And you know, if we get behind in the count, be able to throw his off-speed pitches for strikes, and that's what he's done all year, and that's why he's been very good for us.
He sure has, hasn't he, Chris?
He's done exactly that. Knows his limitations, knows his strengths, and pitches to his strengths. The guy is very disciplined between starts, too. I mean, if you have a leader in the clubhouse that leads by example, Paul Wilson's your man.
1 out, 1 on. Here's Womack, fly to right, bounce to second. Casey holding the runner on. I don't know whether Willie Mopane's just having trouble seeing the ball, whether it's the background or whatever. That's the second ball that he kind of froze on and finally did catch up to it.
I think he's perfecting the leaping catch of a line drive. Did it last night, really cost the Reds a run, possibly by not being able to throw the ball third base with any authority, because he ended up on his heels when he came down. The same thing right there. Molina was running on a pitch. They had a chance for a double play. Had he backed up and set himself up to be able to throw to first base, may have been able to pick Molina's pocket by throwing behind him.
2 balls, 1 strike. Womack peering at the infielders. Bounces this one down to second. 4, 6. Not in time to 3. The speed of Womack beats the attempt at the double play by the Reds.
Well, you've got to turn it in a hurry to get Tony Womack batting from the left side. He's about halfway down the line when after he makes contact with that ball.
So Womack is on the fielder's choice, 0 for 3. He's stolen 14. We'll see if he'll be off and running with Renteria at the plate. This is about the best hit and run combination you could ask for. Renteria is so adept at getting the ball to the right side. Great speed down at first. Edgar today 1 for 2, single to center. Down to third, but foul. Dave McKay, first base coach, reaffirms the sign from Oquendo. Oh, and 2.
Well, the breakout for Paul Wilson on the first 75 pitches. You see the batting average goes up against Wilson every time a batter sees him a second, third, and fourth time up. Same for number of pitches. That breakout right there before and after 75 pitches.
Castro gets a piece of it, deflects it to Larkin. That'll go as a base hit. So Renteria, 2 more hits. He's 2 for 3. And that puts runners at first and second. And you turn the corner, and here come the big guys again.
Just off the glove, if that ball is right at the fielder, no problem at all. But with just a 3-run lead, and now you get down to the meat of the lineup, the sheriff, Don Gullett's going to go out there and give Paul Wilson a little bit of a breather. I'm not really sure that Paul Wilson needs a whole lot of advice out there, but sometimes it's helpful to get somebody else to come out there and kind of help you get focused again.
Hey, tonight on the Best Sports Show period, brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings, they'll talk to Red Sox utility man Kevin Millar, Cubs second baseman Todd Walker about their team's chances for the playoffs, and NHL stars Jeremy Roenick and Brett Hull give their straightforward view of the labor talks and the future of the NHL. Catch the Best Sports Show period tonight right after Reds baseball on Fox Sports Net. Here's Albert, 2 for 2, 2 singles. Drilled a 2-run homer last night, his 23rd of the year. And that's part of the reason for the Gullett visit. You don't want to give up a hard-fought 4-1 lead on one pitch to big number 5. Womack, great speed off second. Renteria, big lead off first. Breaking ball in there.
Yeah, this is a good example in this inning, that extra little effort from Tony Womack to turn that ground ball, which looked like it was going to be a double play, into a fielder's choice. Now extends the inning, and now you get down to the guys who are real run producers. Pujols and then with Scott Rowland on deck. Had it not been for Womack really busting it down the line, Renteria wouldn't have been able to come up and deliver a base hit, and the tying run would not have come to the plate.
And I think Gullett may be concerned a little bit about the way Wilson peered in after the 1-2 pitch that he thought was right on the corner for a strike 3 to Renteria when he didn't get the call. Next pitch, Renteria got the base hit. 2-1. Larkin can't get it. Womack will score easily. Renteria heading for third. Here's the throw, and he is a dead duck. Frio comes up with a perfect throw. Castro slaps the tag, and the inning is over, but not before Pujols picks up his 3rd hit. It's now a 4-2 ball game. Back at Great American Ballpark, Reds lead cut to 2. It's 4-2. Bottom of 5. Here comes Sean Casey. Singled his first time up. Popped out in foul territory to Rowland second time up. Nice play. Randy Whistler, the first base coach for the Reds, feeds a souvenir to the fans down past the first base dugout. Molina sets up in. And again, Chris, as they overshift on him, you can almost, in case he knows, I mean, the Cardinals for a long time really completely shut down Sean Casey. Just of late, he's been starting to get a knowledge of how they're going to pitch him, and that's down and in, down and in, down and in.
You know, Casey is one of the best at keeping his hands inside the ball and being able to keep that inside pitch fair. But when you pound it inside by fastballs that are cutting in towards you, and that's what Woody Williams is feeding him right now. He's not throwing that little two-seamer that's coming back over the plate. He's throwing one that keeps bearing in on your hands. That's a hard one to keep fair.
High in the air to center field. Edmonds camped under it. Got it. There's one away. Here's Ohio Lottery instant replay. How about the play by Friel?
Well, the key to this play is that Ryan Friel is an infielder, and now he comes in and makes a barehanded play right here, and he throws it on the money to Juan Castro. If he's not an infielder, how many outfielders by trade do you see barehand balls in the outfield? Very, very few. But for an infielder like Ryan Friel, it's second nature, and he uses that to his advantage and gets a key out.
Took a perfect throw and a perfect tag, and both ends of it perfect for the Reds. First pitch swinging, Dunn skies it to left. Under it is Mabry, and quickly there's 2 outs for Woody Williams here in the 5th. Dunn, a walk, a ground out, and that fly ball out. And here comes D'Angelo Jimenez, knocked in a run on a ground out and singled to stretch his hitting streak to 6 straight, his second time up in the 3rd.
Boy, the more and more you see Woody Williams adjust to what the Reds have done and begin to get really into a groove right here, the more you believe that Paul Wilson's going to have to make those 4 runs hold up.
Inside to D'Angelo. Such a great similarity between Williams and Matt Morris. I mean, neither one of them will blow you away with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Morris, of course, is learning how to pitch all over again after his arm difficulties, but both of them are tremendous competitors, just like Paul Wilson. They'll find a way to beat you. They'll find a way to read the hitter and use their stuff accordingly. That's pitching.
Well, they both have very good deliveries, which lends themselves to being able to consistently repeat the same delivery and throw the ball where they want to. They don't throw across their body. They don't fly open. They don't try to overthrow.
Cardinals have been.
And they're both in a good fielding position when they end up getting rid of the baseball. How many times have we seen the last couple of nights ground balls back to the pitcher where they're both right there to make the play?
Jimenez asks for time. 2-2. Beachmont Ford, easy to find, easy to deal with. The largest truck dealer in Southwest Ohio with over 1,200 trucks available at all times. And once again, it's Mr. 3-2, D'Angelo Jimenez, going 3-2 again.
Gotta love it.
He'll see more pitches than anybody else in the league. He'll make you throw, and already Williams about ready to deliver his 94th pitch of the ball game here in the 5th inning. Womack to Williams. 1-2-3, 2 fly balls and a ground ball for Woody Williams. We go to the 6th. Roland will lead it off. Reds by 2. Another peak for you. 7-2-5. Pick 4. 2-3-3-9. 2-3-3-9. Buckeye 5. 2-6-18. 28-29. Hope you had a winner tonight in the Ohio Lottery. Here's Scott Roland. Roland struck out, flied out 0 for 2. Cardinals, if you talk about deals made heading towards the July 31st trading deadline, 2 of the bigger ones of the last decade, they've been the architects of the Roland deal and the McGuire deal, and they ended up signing both the big long-term contracts, and both very instrumental in their winning ways in St. Louis. Roland continues to battle that gimpy knee. He'll have one good swing and then it'll wrench up on him, and one bad swing. He strikes out for the 2nd time tonight, 1 away. And here's Jim Edmonds. Storyline update for tonight: be the stopper. Wilson 6-1 and starts following Reds losses. So far so good. 5 1/3, 7 hits, 2 runs, and he's as advertised tonight, Chris.
Exactly. Every time you think Paul Wilson might be just a little short on stuff, he shows you he's long on heart.
There's Edmonds. Bounced out, then hit his 24th double of the year in the 4th with Pujols on. That plated the first run for the Cardinals. They trailed at that point 4-1. Pujols base hit made it 4-2 last inning. Casey takes the big high hop, taps the bag, 2 away, and here comes Mabry. They added up 4 Reds terrace box seats, $100. Reds concession fund bucks, 15. That adds up to 115, right? Nope, adds up to only 65. That's because it's what happens when you buy the MasterCard Grand Slam ticket pack. Reds and MasterCard have teamed up to give fans a deal to designated games at savings ranging from $32 to $50. Use your MasterCard to buy tickets for the Phillies, Diamondbacks, Cardinals, many others at CincinnatiReds.com or the advanced ticket window. That's a fair ball. Casey will take that one too. Good inning for Paul Wilson after the tough one in the 5th. 1, 2, 3. Wilson's due up 4th. Pena will lead it off when we return. Remember that wig I told you Billy Lee used to wear? That's about what it looked like. She's wearing the right kind of cap, though, isn't she? It's a Reds kind of night so far. The Reds and the Redlegs, game 2 of the 4-game series. Strike 1 to Willie Mo Pena. He's got the big rip of the night. A 3-run homer in the 1st, his 11th of the year, gave the Reds a 4-0 lead. He struck out his 2nd time up. Scoreboard today: Milwaukee beat Chicago 3-2. Jeff Jenkins hit his 13th homer. So the Cubs 7.5 games back of the Cardinals right now. Brewers trying to hang in the race just like the Reds. That's back-to-back strikeouts of Willie Mo Pena by Woody Williams. For Woody, that's his 4th strikeout, 1 away, and here's Jason LaRue.
The JTM Food Group would like to salute the people of our community who unselfishly volunteer their time to help others. JTM Food Group, where service is success.
There's Jason, lined to short, bounced to short, 0 for 2. Also on the scoreboard in the National League tonight, Pittsburgh leads Florida 5-1 in the 6th. Phillies over the Mets 2-1 there in the 6th. In that game, Jim Thome's hit another home run, his 29th of the year. He leads all of Major League Baseball. Montreal leads Atlanta 2-0 there in the 5th. San Diego 3, Houston 0 in the 3rd. This is their first game under new manager Phil Garner. San Francisco at Colorado, LA at Arizona later on in the National League. American League this afternoon, Tampa Bay beat Baltimore 2-0 your final. 0-2 to LaRue. 100th pitch of the night is down and in for Woody Williams. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
67 strikes and 33 balls. Pretty good ratio right there for Woody Williams. Had only that 1 bad inning, the 1st inning. And we've said it time and time again, George, if you don't get him early, sometimes you never get him at all. And Woody Williams has really adjusted. We said in our scouting report on Woody Williams that he sinks everything and really keeps everything down. And he made the 1 mistake pitch to Willie Mo Pena. And he has consistently kept the ball down in the zone. Likewise for Paul Wilson.
The Don Gullett philosophy: find a way to get people out. Scouting reports, everything part of the story, but the bottom line is read the hitter. Read what they do.
That's exactly why both these guys, Woody Williams and Paul Wilson, can essentially call their own game. They're not relying on their catcher to follow the game plan, afraid to what will happen if I throw a pitch that I want that wasn't in the scouting report and it's hit for a home run. They're the ones that eventually answer for it, and they've been around long enough to know.
LaRue to right. Did he get enough? Back is Sanders. That's going to be gone. LaRue helps his battery mate with 1 swing of the bat. Number 9 for Jason. Run batted in number 30. The Reds get a run back. They now lead it 5-2. That's a good sign. When LaRue starts going that way, he starts to dial in.
Amazing that he was able to hit the ball the other way, because in previous pitches he was badly pulling off the ball and hammering them foul down the left field line. Going the other way with this one, a little fastball that looks like it's right down the middle. And you're right, that is a good sign. If LaRue starts going the other way, that's a Chris Chambliss philosophy kicking in.
Castro first pitch swinging, skies it to center, Edmonds under it. 2 away. So for Jason's been a long drought, not just in home runs. That was his 9th of the year, but that's his first here since last September against Pittsburgh. First home run at home since last September against Solomon Torres of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Jason will take it, so will Paul Wilson. The Reds lead now 3-5-2. Here's Wilson, who doubled and struck out. some stretching going on, but no work in the Cardinal bullpen right now. Williams is due up third next inning. Wilson disposed of, so are the Reds, but not before Jason LaRue gives his buddy an extra run to work with. 5-2 Reds. Reggie Sanders. More Reds baseball coming your way on Fox Sports Net. Sean Casey and the Reds take on the Redbirds again tomorrow. It's a 12:30 game, and then on Sunday we'll be back on the air. Cards and Reds for Game 4 of the series. Jose Acevedo against Jeff Suppan. That's the scheduled Sunday rotation. Tomorrow it'll be Corey Lytle against Jason Marquis. That game on the network. Chris will be here with Kenny Albert for that one. Here's Reggie, Sanders, Molina, and Williams due up. And right now no one tossing in the bullpen. And as we speak, somebody does get up and start to throw in the bullpen for St. Louis. Here's Reggie, bounced to short twice. Now we talk about the top of this rotation. The Reds have seen Chris Carpenter. He's been great against Cincinnati. You know about Matt Morris, you know about Woody Williams, but the real key to the rotation, you expect those three to pitch pretty good. Jason Marquis has pitched great, and Suppan has pitched great too. At the warning track, Willie Mopena under it, got it. Reggie's retired, one away. Sierra Mist, shockingly refreshing. Unleash the fresh taste of lemon lime Sierra Mist. For the makers of Pepsi, the choice of the Reds.
Well, none of the St. Louis Cardinals starting pitchers are in line to win a Cy Young Award this year. But what Tony La Russa has is a whole staff of starters that give the bullpen essentially the day off until the 7th inning rolls around. These guys average around 6 innings to start on a most consistent basis. And when you can do that, you can be very stingy with how often you use your relievers and how often you make them go back-to-back games and pitch extended innings. And that's been the key so far. They've got an outstanding relief job, and they've also had, of course, outstanding starting performances.
Molina's second base hit. He's 2 for 3. Here comes a pinch hitter, Ray Lankford, for the pitcher, Woody Williams. Hey, Reds fans, do you know how easy it is to dress like your favorite player? Just go to CincinnatiReds.com. Click on Shop for everything from player jerseys to T-shirts and caps. CincinnatiReds.com, the place to shop for Reds merchandise. So Woody Williams' night is done. He allows the Reds 5 runs on 8 hits. And here's Ray Lankford, the original Cardinal, traded to San Diego, now back with St. Louis after taking last year off. He had knee and shoulder difficulties. 108 pitches for Woody Williams tonight. He exits right now on the short end of a 5-2 score, unless the Cardinals were to rally to add more in this inning. Lankford sends it high in the air to left center. Who's going to take charge? They're looking at each other, and Dunn finally does. Oh, they're much more aware of it now. Friel and Dunn looked at each other twice. Somebody finally did take charge, and the big guy hauls it in. 2 away. Lankford's retired. Back to the top of the order, Tony Womack.
Well, Dunn, at first time, I don't think he even saw it. You get to this time of night where it's not quite dark yet. It's more dusk than dark. The sun is down from the horizon, but you see him initially motion. I don't see it, but that ball hit high enough for Dunn to be able to drift into it and make a catch.
Almost identical time of the night where Dunn lost the ball in the twilight in St. Louis when the Cardinals and Reds were playing there. Twilight time, ball has a tendency to disappear. Broken bat to short. Larkin scoops. They'll get the out the short way. No way they would have gotten Womack at first, but they do get the force. No base hit, nothing to show for it. Still 5-2 Reds to the bottom of 7 weeks. Paul Wilson's pitched great. 7 innings, 8 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, 3 punch-outs. Woody Wilson pitched well, but he's on the short end of a 5-2 score. Willie Mopena continued his heavy thumping, a 3-run home run, the big hit for the Reds tonight. 5-2 Cincinnati leads it. That's our Chrysler game summary. And here's the new pitcher, Kiko Calero, for the Redbirds.
Oh, we've seen Kiko Calero several times over the last couple of years. In fact, one time Kiko was a starter for the Cardinals, albeit a few number of starts. He comes in now in middle relief. This is one area in which the Cardinals have really excelled, and it's kind of an unsung part of their ball club, George, with all the fanfare going to Scott Rowland and Albert Pujols and Edgar Renteria and Jim Rowland. It was it's the bullpen setting up Jason Isringhausen has been outstanding. They've got the best 1-2 left-handed punch in the league with Ray King and Steve Klein, and Kiko Calero's done a fine job with a .328 earned run average in his 21 games.
Relief pitchers have an ERA of 3.18. That's number 2 in the major leagues. The Reds, on the other hand, 15th in earned run average in the National League. And the two factors: first, the starters go deep, and secondly, these guys have done a great job at the tail end of ball games. Here's Ryan Friel, 0 for 3, trying to stretch a career high 10-game hitting streak, trying to keep it alive with a base hit here tonight against Calero. Cardinals bullpen has been magnificent. They've allowed a National League leading few number of home runs. Only 19 home runs the Cardinals bullpen has allowed, and that's big because, you know, if you give up a couple of hits and you get a run, that's one thing. Todd Jones starting to loosen in the bullpen for the Reds, but it's those home runs that really catch up and not only balloon earned run average, but have games get out of control late.
Now they turn a game around, the momentum around quickly, especially if it's a game tying or a go-ahead home run. Keep the ball in the ballpark.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Friel. Popped up. Womack calling. He's got it, 1 away, and that'll bring up Barry Larkin. Introducing a delicious twist on ordinary chicken salad. Arby's Market Fresh Chicken Salad. Try a sandwich, a wrap, or a bowl. One great chicken salad, 3 ways to enjoy it. Now at Arby's.
Well, Kiko Calero, if you're a right-handed hitter, he's not too tough to figure out what he's going to throw you. You may not be able to make solid contact on it, but he's a guy that is essentially a slider machine. He likes his slider, and he'll use it often.
Here's Barry, the captain, single to right, single to short, bounce back to the pitcher in the 4th inning, 2 for 3. Drilled pretty good. Edmonds took a step in. Will he get there in time? He will. His first step was in. That ball carried pretty well, and boy, does he track it down.
Mr.
Man.
Smooth.
Boy. Like a hunting dog going for the quail, huh?
You know, once he gets on track, you're so confident that he's going to make the catch that rarely does he ever get to a ball and not make the catch. You know, if you put Jim Edmonds in a foot race with most of the center fielders in the National League, doubtful that he will finish in the upper 50%. But talk about a guy that consistently gets a great jump on the ball, takes the perfect angle on a ball, and that's usually more important than just speed.
First step the most critical, and his are usually golden. Here's Casey, single, popped up, fly out, 1 for 3. Casey against Calero, 0 for 2 in their previous encounters. Pujols has it, waves off the pitcher. He'll take it. It's an easy 1-2-3 for Calero in the bottom of 7. To 8 we go. The big guys, Renteria, Pujols, and Rowland do up.
Paul Wilson did his work for 7 innings as a starter for the Reds. He gave up 2 runs to the Cardinals and single shots in the 4th and the 5th inning, holding the Cardinals to 8 hits overall. So Wilson has gone after 7 very fine innings, and here comes Todd Jones, Dave Miley's 8th inning pitcher. A 7-2 record for Jones, but he's looking to hold the score right there at 5-2.
And boy, does he have the tough part, the meat part of the order. Renteria, Pujols, Rowland, followed by Edmonds. Jones got his work cut out for him here. Renteria, another 2-hit night. And he slaps this one foul to the right side. Edgar singled in the 1st, bounced to short in the 3rd, and singled off the 3rd baseman Castro's glove in the 5th. That prolonged a rally that was culminated by a base hit by Pujols to give the Cardinals their 2nd run. Down and away for a ball. Renteria 3 for 9 against Todd Jones in his career. Sitting behind him is Albert Pujols, big number 5. He locked him up. Renteria throws the bat at it. That's strikeout number 1 for Todd Jones. 1 away in the 8th.
You know you have a good curveball when a batter throws the bat at the pitch, because that's the only way he's going to make contact with it, and still not able to foul it off. It's either letting loose of the bat or breaking your wrist.
Here's Pujols, 2 for 3 and a homer against Jones in the record book so far. That's a breaking ball in for strike 1. Fox Sports Net welcomes our viewers watching on Perfect TV Company in Manchester, Kentucky, and KAS Cable in Fairborn, Ohio. Thanks for watching Reds baseball and welcome aboard. Look out. Fouled off, and it's 0-2. One of the most gratifying, he is peeking at his bat again, checking to see, is there something in there that he keeps hearing. He's got a strange feeling about it, doesn't he? He's been a pretty good buddy tonight. He's got 3 hits off that bat.
Albert Pujols might be the only player I know who can actually see karma. You never know. I wouldn't put it past him.
He and Robert Redford.
Well, Todd Jones joined the club because you're not the only one or the first one tonight. A little disgruntled with a pitch that you thought was a strike, but Bruce Dreckman decided it was a ball.
One ball, 2 strikes.
Boy, tough to duplicate a pitch that good, especially against a hitter like Albert Pujols.
Slide to right. There goes Willie Moe over his head against the wall. And Pujols will slam on the brakes at first. Well, Albert continues to rake. 4 hits tonight, 4 singles. His average now approaching 400 against the Reds for his career.
I got to think that ball probably should have been an out. It seems like Willie Moe, either he's not picking the ball up, as you said earlier, George, but I think his first move on every ball hit to right field is in a couple of steps. And he moved in on that ball before he figured out that it was going over his head.
One of the keys for Paul Wilson tonight was how he pitched Scott Rowland, Chris.
And he pitched him in early on right there. Rowland didn't look very good on the fastballs that he saw up and in. But if he was going to make an adjustment, Wilson didn't allow him, because in subsequent at-bats he began to pitch him breaking balls and then struck him out going away his last time up with a fastball low and away. So Rowland throttled pretty well by Paul Wilson.
No balls, 1 strike to Rowland. 0 for 3 tonight. That's outside. Rowland against Jones in their previous meetings, 3 for 6. And Danny Graves said it the other day when we talked to him in Milwaukee. He says, so often, you know, I get credit for the save, but it's Todd Jones that bails me out by facing the meat of the order. And if there ever was an example of it, it's right here in this inning.
You know, you wonder sometimes if it's maybe not important to put your best reliever in the 7th or 8th inning instead of the 9th inning because of that reason.
That's what you always said as a setup guy, wasn't it? You were equal to the task.
No, all you're trying to do is get those guys out one way or another.
That's right.
And of course, Todd Jones has had plenty of experience as a closer himself. He's a little frustrated right now.
Yeah, 2 pitches, one right on the outside corner, another down and away that he thought he had. Doesn't get it. Now it's a 3-1 count to Rowland. And this isn't against the number 8 or 9 hitter. It's against Pujols and Rowland.
He's got a pretty good fastball tonight, Todd Jones does. And that's what, when you throw a curveball as slow as Jones, and then you zip that fastball in at 93, boy, it has an effect of really slowing the bat down a little bit. Roland barely able to get around on that, a 3-1 pitch.
That's ball 4. So first and second. And that brings the tying run to the plate, and it's Jim Edmonds. Edmonds doubled in a run back in the 4th. He's 1 for 3. Hey, you can win free groceries on July 18th. That's right, Reds fans. July 18th is Kroger Grocery Day. Reds meet the Cardinals at 1:15. Lucky fans can win Kroger gift cards. Just watch the scoreboard throughout the game to see if your ticket's a winner. Win 50, 100, even $1,000 gift cards. It'll make your Krogering a little easier. Get Reds tickets now to see the Reds and Cardinals Sunday during Kroger Grocery Day. Here's Don Gullett out to talk to Todd Jones.
Well, Jason LaRue went out there to try to settle him down. Now Don Gullett's going to come out, and Bruce Dreckman's going to join him. He wants to know when that umpire is there, and I think they're going to give Dreckman a little bit of an earful about maybe opening up the strike zone and make sure you call a strike, at least in their estimation. And Jones is getting it in and satisfied. Everybody will go back to work.
Todd Jones is one of those guys that he could have a beef with the umpire. The umpire will come out and he'd say something funny, like, you know, to diffuse the situation, even though he's steamed at the umpire. Now he's got further work cut out for him here in Edmonds. Edmonds 2 for 7 and a homer against Jones in the record book. 2 on, 1 out. Gabe White, Danny Graves loosening in the bullpen for Cincinnati. Larkin, Renteria double play depth. They'd like to turn one here on the normally fly ball hitting Jim Edmonds. Edmonds has hit into only 3 double plays. He has one of those swings that's conducive to lifting the ball. Here's the 1-1.
Pretty good little fastball right there. That ball is up, and I don't know whether Edmonds is looking breaking ball or not, but he looks very fooled by that one. You know, one of the reasons that Jim Edmonds went to that spread leg stance as he gets himself set is that he feels like it gives his balls more, that he hits more lift, that he puts backspin on them, and they carry further. And of course, if you get a fly ball that carries further, you got a chance for a home run.
There's the 1-2. He got him. The key pitch. Edmonds looking, breaking ball. He zips a fastball by him, and then he backs it up with this pitch. Same spot. Edmonds can't catch up. There's your second out of the inning. 2 punch outs for Todd Jones. Here's Mabry. Jones trying to clean up the inning for the Reds here in the 8th. That's a little low. 2 balls, no strikes. Mabry tonight popped out, grounded out, and grounded to the first baseman. 0 for 3. Pujols singled. He's at second. Roland walked. He's down at first. That'll kick away, and both runners will advance. And now a base hit can make this a 1-run ball game.
That ball way inside, but was it in the dirt? That's the question. LaRue's waiting for it inside. That's got to be a pass ball. That ball did not hit the dirt by the time that he had a chance to grab it.
That's a pass ball. That's gotten Don Gullett into check on the phone to Tom Hume, where White and Graves were up and loosening. We're with Mabry, and after this you've got the right-handed part of the lineup to deal with. Down and in, ball 4. So 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Bases are now loaded. And here comes Ray Lankford. Reggie Sanders, rather. And out comes Dave Miley. He'll go to the right-hander. Sanders coming to the plate. And out comes Danny Graves. The right-hander will come in from the bullpen. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Skyline Chili, the official chili of the Cincinnati Reds. Redbirds, it usually comes down to this. Now the Cardinals have won 6 of the 7 between these two teams coming into tonight. Most of them have been close late in ball games. We got another one tonight, Chris.
Well, at least the Reds are winning this one. They've got a chance to put it away right here. So Dave Miley goes to his closer, Danny Graves, here in the 8th inning with a couple out and the bases loaded. He's got a tough left-handed hitter in Ray Lankford coming up. 2 for 7 lifetime Lankford is against Graves. So these guys have had a little bit of a history with each other. 50 times now for Danny Graves already. He's got 33 saves on his belt. Looking for the number 34, but he's going to have to work through this 8th inning first.
Well, here's Reggie Sanders. Sanders coming to the plate, facing Danny Graves. Sanders 0 for 8 against Graves in their previous meetings.
You had me talked into Lankford.
Here's Reggie. Tonight, Reggie's working on an 0 for 2 ground outs and a fly ball to right. Big point in the ball game here. Sanders sitting on 14 homers and 43 knocked in. The sinker baller Graves delivers. Look out. Almost hit him. Ball 1.
First pitch breaking ball. A little hanger right there.
Graves trying to find a way to get out of this jam and keep Paul Wilson on the smiling side of a 5-2 score. That's up high.
And both pitches missing up high. Once with the breaking ball and now with the fastball for Danny Graves. Not a good sign for a guy that has made his living being down around the knees. That'd be Reggie Sanders. You've got to be thinking fastball and you got to be thinking out over the plate. If you're Danny Graves, you're thinking about throwing your best pitch that you can throw for a strike.
2-0. That's a strike. There they are. No place to put Sanders. Bases loaded. Single by Pujols. Walk to Roland. Walk to Mabry. You know Graves' story. 33 saves, his career high. Big swing. His best pitch of the at-bat so far. A little giddy up on that fastball.
91 miles an hour. Looks like it was pretty much right down Broadway and just blew it right past Reggie Sanders. Now do you try to trick him with a breaking ball? This is really the pitch on a 2-2 count. You want to get a decision.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Sanders will step out, ask for time. Reds have 47 victories. Graves has been a part of 34 of them. 33 saves and a win. Down to third. That'll get into left. The base hit. 1-run scores. Here comes Roland. He'll score. And it's now a 5-4 ball game. Sanders fought it off and got it through the infield for a base hit. And this all of a sudden is a 1-run game in the top of the 8th. First hit ever for Sanders against Graves.
And that's probably why Danny Graves is in there. Dave Miley looked at the matchup and said, you know what, the way that Todd Jones is going, a little frustrated. Let's go ahead and bring in Danny Graves that has a perfect record against Sanders. And it's one of those situations where maybe Sanders is finally due. The Cardinals close it to 1.
With the catcher, Molina due up, Marlon Anderson will come in to pinch hit. Well, Miley brings in his closer. Now he's just hoping to get out of it without any further damage. Anderson and Lankford, the 2 left-handed pinch hitters already used. Normally the switch hitter Roger Cedeno's on the bench too, but he's serving his suspension so he's not available tonight. All that's left are Luna, Taguchi, and Matheny. And Matheny obviously will come into the game now that they've pinch hit for the catcher Molina. Breaking ball misses inside. Anderson 3 for 5 in his previous matchups with Danny Graves. Marlon came up with the Phillies, went to Tampa Bay, and signed by the Cardinals in mid-January of this year. They signed Anderson before they signed Tony Womack. They had penciled him in to battle with Bo Hart for the second base job. Anderson stuck playing second and some outfield, and Womack has taken over as the everyday second baseman. Ball and a strike. Big moment. Tying run sitting out at second. Hit deep to right center. That's going back. It's going to be gone. Well, we talked about it all night long. One of the differences of this Cardinals club is that whoever comes off the bench contributes. And tonight it's Marlon Anderson. A 3-run home run. And from a 5-2 deficit, the Cardinals have put 5 up in the 8th and lead it 7-5. Anderson touches Danny Graves for a homer, and it's now 7-5 St. Louis.
A 1-1 count looks like a breaking ball. And not all that bad of a pitch. Marlon Anderson just goes down to get it, but it gets along the plate right there. And a 3-run blast puts the Cardinals up by 2. The 10th home run of the year in 50 innings given up by the Reds closer.
3 runs charged to Jones, 2 runs charged to Graves, and there's a bullet through the middle. That's a base hit. Second pinch hit home run of the year for Marlon Anderson. A big time blast that gives the Cardinals a lead, and then a bullet into center field. And there's a runner at first, and Don Gullett to the bullpen again. They did not have anyone up with Graves on the mound. Now they will get someone up. Back to Tony Womack.
What were you saying, George, about how the Cardinal bullpen has been so stingy with the home run ball, but by contrast the Reds bullpen has been giving up a lot of home runs, and boy does it change the dynamics of an inning instantly.
Boy, it burns the scoreboard, doesn't it? You know, we started tonight talking about Paul Wilson, 9 wins, a career high. He would have 13 would it not be for the 4 blown saves the Reds have tacked on him after he left ball games. Well, right now it stands to be blown save number 5 for Wilson. I mean, that's not the most important story tonight, and Wilson will tell you that after the game. The most important story would be a Reds win with a 5-2 lead that's now turned into a 7-5 deficit in the 8th. Nobody feels worse about it than number 32 right there.
41 home runs given up by Reds relievers this season.
That's more than double what the Cardinals have allowed.
And unfortunately, nearly 25% of those given up by the Reds closer.
Bouncer down to second. They'll get the out, but the damage done. 6 outs left for the Reds, in a crowd nearly capacity, 39,000 plus, unhappy at what they've seen in the 8th inning. Cardinals have a
covey of relievers out of the Cardinal bullpen last night, and they're going to see Steve Klein again tonight for the 2nd night in a row. 44th time overall for Klein. A superb year that this guy's putting together. He and Ray King, the best 1-2 left-handed punch in the National League, easily with a 191 earnings. Klein is in here to pitch the bottom of the 8th.
Here's Mike Matheny back behind the plate. So Matheny catching Klein. And here's Adam Dunn. Dunn tonight walked, bounced out, flied out, 0 for 2. 7 runs, 12 hits for the Cardinals now. 5 runs, 8 hits for Cincinnati. 7-5 game, bottom of 8th. You look back on this series this year, a lot of the action has come in innings 7, 8, and 9 by either club. Unfortunately, mostly the Cardinals. Klein peers in for his sign. There's the 1-1. Klein came up in the Cleveland organization. The other half of this left-handed tandem, Ray King, came up in the Reds organization. Both have blossomed in St. Louis. A double-barreled left-handed duo in the bullpen. Down and away, swing and a miss. Dunn's retired. One away here in the bottom of the 8th. Well, the Reds with 39,000 plus, almost a sellout, 39,140. That's 200 shy of a sellout. They had the crowd hopped up when they scored 4 in the first, and then from then it was dry gulch until the 6th inning when they pushed another run across. But the offense has gone asleep since that first inning uprising. And Chris, we talked about it before. Dave Miley was just talking about it last night, that so often it happens. The Reds score early and then do nothing.
Well, they were able to punch one run across, but that was a home run by Jason LaRue. So it is one of those situations, George, sometimes you have to tip your hat to the opposing pitcher. Woody Williams probably felt the same way that Todd Jones did, in feeling like he got squeezed a little bit in that first inning, ended up giving up a home run ball to Willie Mo Pena, but he really settled down after that.
1 ball, 2 strikes. This Dayton Reds history, 1990. Speaking of Eric Davis, who was with us earlier, ED hit a grand slam to key the Reds' 8-3 win over the Expos right here in Cincinnati at Riverfront Stadium. That was 1990, as the Reds were wire to wire heading to the postseason, winning the World Series, beating Oakland. They're going to need some 8th and 9th inning lightning tonight too. 2-2. Whoa. That's a call, strike 3. D'Angelo Jimenez doesn't like the call. The switch hitter batting from the right side is punched out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Klein.
I don't think you're going to find anybody in the ballpark tonight, at least playing on either side of the ball, whether you're a pitcher or a hitter, that is completely happy with the strike zone.
So Klein gets the left-hander done, and Jimenez, who they turned around, and with Willie Mo Pena coming up, LaRussa will go to his bullpen while the pitching change takes place. He'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports now.
Goes the bullpen after Steve Klein retires both of the batters that he faces on strikeouts. Julian Tavares for the second night and comes into the ball game. 2/3 of an inning last night, lowered his earned run average to 3.00.
So Klein strikes out 2, and here's Willie Mo. Willie Mo had a 3-run homer in the first, his 11th homer of the year, and he struck out twice looking against Woody Williams. Williams went 6 innings, allowed 8 hits, 5 runs. He struck out 5. Walked a batter in the first, and that was the only free pass he issued. 0-2 to Willie Mo. And Chris, you get a couple of calls like that on the outside corner. Why not keep working it?
Exactly right.
They do. Willie Mo's punched out, so a big first swing from Willie Mo, then 3 straight strikeouts. In fact, 3 strikeouts in the 8th. To the 9th, Graves still in there. We go to the 9th, and boy, did the 8th inning change this one around. This guy let it off in the 8th. He struck out. Pujols singled, Rowland walked, Edmonds struck out. So with 2 outs, there were 2 on, and no runs had scored. Todd Jones then walked Mabry. In came Graves. Graves gave up a single, a 3-run homer, and it was 7-5. Boom, boom. Renteria tonight, 2 for 4, single to center and a base hit off Castro's glove at third. That's a call, strike 3, and Renteria not liking it, so join the club, Edgar.
I'll tell you, it looks like Bruce Dreckman has gone from a very tight strike zone early on in the ball game to a very loose strike zone here. D'Angelo Jimenez had a couple of words for him on a breaking ball that was outside, and Edgar didn't like that one, although from our perspective it looked like it caught the plate.
So 1 away, and here's Albert. Ho-hum, another 4-hit night for Albert Pujols. 4 singles tonight. Knocked in a run, 4 for 4. That's gotten the average back up to 312. Reds and the Redbirds didn't play for the first 2.5 months of the season. Now they're playing 13 times in 5.5 weeks. Cardinals here this week for 4 games. They'll be back here on the 26th, 27th, and 28th of July, right before the trading deadline. Be interesting to see what St. Louis might be doing between now and then, or while they're here. So it'll be a 4 for 5 night for Pujols as he bounces out to second. All the rumors the last 24 hours have circulated around the Randy Johnson comments that the Cardinals were on the list of 6 teams that he would go to, that he's given the Arizona Diamondbacks, and everyone's pointing to, you know, would it be Boston, would it be New York, would it be either the Chicago teams or Anaheim. And Bill DeWitt, who lives here in Cincinnati, one of the owners of the Cardinals, the managing general partner and the prime owner, he and Walt Jocarty, their phones have been ringing off the hook for the last 24 hours. The problem is they'd love to have Randy Johnson, but not at $17 million for next year too. Unlikely the Cardinals would be in that hunt. There's a 1-ball delivery to Roland. But knowing the Cardinals, you figure they might do something before the deadline. Cardinals will play the Reds one more time in August. Fly ball to the right side. Long run. Pena. Will anybody get there? Willie Mo does. In foul territory. He hauls it in. Last roundup time for the Reds. Cincinnati trails by 2. LaRue, who homered, will lead it off. Coming up right after Reds baseball tonight, and after every Reds game, Gold Star Chili Reds wrap will be coming your way. JD, Jim Day down there ready to go to work. It's Gold Star Chili Reds wrap after tonight's game right here on FSN Ohio. Storyline update. Key hits at key times. Last night the Reds were 2 for 17 with runners in scoring position. Tonight 2 for 8, a homer for the Reds. 3 for 8 the Cardinals. And it all up. 3-run homer's the story. The Reds got one early from Willie Mo Pena. The Cardinals got one late from Marlon Anderson, a pinch hit homer. End result, Cardinals have a 7-5 lead as we go to the bottom of 9, and the Reds will need a rally to beat the closer for St. Louis. Here's Jason Isringhausen.
151 career saves for Jason Isringhausen. He's blown 4 of them this year, but he's nailed down 21.
LaRue to center. Did he get all of it? Going back, going back. It is. Did he catch it? He did it again. He did it again. Edmonds, a miraculous catch to center field. He robbed Dunn in St. Louis, reaching over the wall, and I think he amazed himself the way he caught that.
Now there are people out in the center field stands that say that he trapped that ball. That ball actually hit the grass and bounced back up. And I have to say that they've got a pretty good point. We're seeing the replay. Let's take another look at it.
Take a look from here. Watch the leap by Edmonds.
Is this a catch or is it a trap? That's a catch.
That's a catch.
All the way, and a great one.
That is brilliant by Jim Edmonds, the 6-time Gold Glover. What's better than gold? Platinum and a whole lot more. He amazed himself, didn't he? Well, he's done that to the Reds time and time again. Twice this year, he's reached over the wall to prevent Reds homers. Isringhausen just looked out at him and tipped his cap. So instead of 7-6, it's still 7-5, and there's one out. Look at the look on his face. Amazing.
Man.
What a brilliant catch by a brilliant outfielder. 6 times a Gold Glove winner, and boy, does he come up with some special plays. Oh, here's Jake. Cruz leads the major leagues with 11 pinch hits. 2 homers on the season. And the Reds fans trying to send some karma to Cruz. That's a fair ball. Pujols has it. He'll tap the bag 2 away. And here comes John Vanderwall. Well, when you're Dave Miley, what can you do? Just shrug your head and say hang with him. It looked like LaRue had his 2nd homer of the night. Boy, he drilled that. It was so majestic, hit high in the air, and ironically, that's what gave Edmonds the chance to get back that far. It was hit so high. Here's Vanderwall. Walked yesterday. Got a base hit in his first appearance. A double in Milwaukee on Sunday. You go through these stretches, don't you, Chris, where you face a team and it seems like they got your number. No matter what you do, they keep coming back on you, or you have difficulty, and that's what the Cardinals have on the Reds right now.
Cardinals have everybody's number right now.
St. Louis will hammer this one home. Jim Edmonds, he's done it with homers. Tonight again, he did it with his glove. A brilliant catch, robbing LaRue of a homer, and the Cardinals hold on for a 7-5 win over Cincinnati. They've taken 7 of 8 from the Reds. The Reds dropped 9.5 back in the Central Division. All Jason can do is shake his head and head back to the clubhouse. Standing by, Jim Day with Gold Star Chili Reds wrap. That's coming up next. Cardinals win it tonight, 7-5 at Great American Ballpark. Another look at a brilliant catch by Edmonds.